Good afternoon. Is it afternoon? It is afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, as we are about to have a kickoff with the game of Immortals versus Tigers, as the kickoff takes place somewhere halfway across the field. A bit interesting, as the game has indeed come to a halt already. Today we're playing Tigers Mannheim versus Immortals, a team from Iran. Of course, Immortals has yesterday already defeated RoboCup Twente in the eighth finals of the upper bracket. Tigers has, of course, achieved first place in their pool, meaning that this is now, I believe, the quarterfinals upper bracket series. Not completely sure, as we're here live to commentate this for you. Me together with my co-host Amy. As we'll be diving deeper into the game as we go. For now, please get something to drink. It's warm. At least here in Bordeaux, it's about 33 degrees. Get something to drink while we wait for the game to commence.
Immortals coming strong right away with a shot off the ball. However, it was chipped, so it would have not been valid goal, and it was blocked by the keeper from Tigers.
As Immortals has now another chip across the goal, as there is a Tigers robot defending. Three of them actually are now blocking the ball, ready for Gandalf, who shall not let the ball pass.
It's quite an impressive take that the robots from Tigers were actually blocking
the ball
from Immortals, while Gandalf could take the ball and kick it back into the field.
And so there's a strong defense from an Immortals robot on the side of the field, on the right side, as the ball is now moved to the left side of the field for ball placement. It's a bit weird, but apparently the ball has gone over the field there. No, definitely not, as the game is now being halted for relatively unknown reasons.
I'm thinking that it's the same problem that occurred yesterday, where there was a chip taking place alongside the side of the field, and then the vision system thought that the ball was outside of the field. However, there is indeed a ball placement taking place for Tigers.
And now it's on the correct side of the field, as we move on again to have a look. The ball is on your right at the moment, as it's Tigers who has the ball, looking for an opponent to play, but there's no progress for... No, never mind, the game is running, as Tigers shoots the ball across from the goal in front of the field, as there is a... I don't know what that robot's called, as there is a Tigers robot ready for the goal, and wants to shoot, but the keeper from Immortals has managed to save that goal. Maybe we can get a replay on that in a bit, when it's... As there appears to be an Immortals robot defender that was inside of its own goal area whilst touching the ball. This is a possible offense, might lead to a penalty. If it indeed is the case, I do believe that the decision might be challenged, as we can maybe have a look at the quick replay if it is there, in order to let's see what we think ourselves. If Amy can also have a look with me. He's ready for the goal, and wants to shoot an Immortals robot, but the keeper from Immortals side of the field has managed to save that goal. Maybe we can get a replay on touching the ball in any way. He's ready for the goal, and wants to shoot, but the keeper from Immortals has managed to save that goal. Maybe we can get a replay. I will move the text from the overlay to actually have it replay once more. As we ready for the goal, and that there wants to shoot are no yellow dots. Let's pause it real quick. Ready for the goal. At a particular point in time, I do not see any yellow dots in the corner of your screen at the field overlay. So I do not think myself that this is worth a penalty, and I'm willing to contest if if anyone is asking for my opinion here,
I'm always asking your
we
opinion.
can have a look at
guys.
the replay here if you want.
No, I mean they set the keeper ID wrong. So
Oh, keeper
it's
ID
gonna
is
be
wrong. Okay, it has been resolved. We hope, at least. It turns out that the keeper ID was wrong, and it is, of course, a keeper in the goal area that is, of course, allowed to touch the ball. Therefore, we can again transition away from our replay back into another replay, apparently, because I forgot to switch cameras. So we move into. I would say perhaps a corner view here as we continue the game on the side of the field. I think for Tigers to take the ball. As we continue the game, we see that Tigers has in fact scored a goal, even though this is still under review. Maybe as the ball is placed in the center, I do hear the sirens, meaning that Tigers has in fact scored a goal, and it's now 0-1 for the side of Tigers. Perhaps while the game is being paused, I hope we can have a quick look at a replay once more of this goal. Let's have a look. There is indeed the ball is on the right side of the field. It crosses the goal, and there's a shot, which is quite a good shot, if I must admit. As the game continues, and there is a shot between from the side of Immortals, chip straight away at the goal. As there are chips flying across the field, and robots are going. As there's a shot from Tigers, another shot on goal, and another goal from Tigers. Impressive stuff, impressive stuff. Strange things are happening here, as it turns out that Immortals are making quite a few fouls. They have 2 red cards already and 2 yellow cards, meaning that for the moment they're only allowed to have 7 robots on the field, whilst they're having 8, so they're forced to take one out. I don't really see why. I think there are a few crashes that have caused Immortals to be receiving these penalties. But then again, I do still think that, especially against an opponent of Tigers, this is such as Tigers, this should just be allowed. As we see a ball placement, the beautiful double kissing method from Immortals, as we continue the game in the far left corner of your screen. Great save from the Immortals keeper as it chips the ball all the way across the field, back on the half of Tigers, giving them some more breathing room. As I do believe that Immortals are once again allowed to put robots back in the field, given that there's now a ball. Never mind, there's another red card collected by Immortals. As I look to my right to see what is actually happening. As there are robots being substituted, and road handler from Immortals now being back on the side of the field, meaning that we can continue the game with Wolpertinger from Tigers going to take the ball, if I'm not mistaken. There's some nice defending on the side of Immortals as balls are getting to the Tigers defense. Currently the ball has gone outside of the field whilst there is a robot from Tigers going to place the ball back in the field as the game continues, probably with a chip coming from your left side of the screen, or right side of the screen actually, as there is a 1-2-3 combination and a robot from Immortals crashing into the Tigers attacker in order to try and stop it from shooting, but it didn't make a difference as a Tiger spot scored anyway. Perhaps we can... Oh, as the referee is almost run over by a horde of robots, the ball is placed in the center in order to continue. As we quickly, very quickly, try and go over a replay in order to see what has happened. There is a... And as No, I put the replay in the wrong place. As... I'll make it smaller. As the game continues, we'll quickly go back to that. There is a 1-2-3 combination and a robot from Immortals
Actually, it's
crashing into the Tigers. One more quick look at that as we see the replay. There is a 1-2-3 combination and a robot from Immortals
around and shoots anyway.
crashing into the Tigers. Back to the broad view in order to continue the game as planned. There's an Immortals robot who will chip the ball almost past the defense of ER Tigers. As I keep confusing names, you'll have to forgive me for this. It is 0-3 in the first half with 2 minutes to play, and things aren't particularly looking great for Immortals. That they're definitely giving it their A game as they're moving on to play. Of course, Immortals being a team from Iran, I already mentioned this, I believe, before. Tigers being from Mannheim, Germany, have been multiple world champions over the past few years. Have very strong team of 11 robots. Actually, only one remark for unsporting behavior, but no fouls, no cards. Whereas Immortals, the robots from Immortals seem to be looking a little bit more aggressive as they are bumping into robots at times, as the ball is deflected by a defender and the keeper as it moves on the side of the field. Also, coming to note that there is a lot of audience watching. Perhaps during halftime or a timeout, I can go and give you a better, more image for that. One, two, three combination and a robot from Immortals crashing. as we go into the almost halftime, we see that Immortals has scored a goal. Unfortunately, I might not have gotten the right angle. Though this is, of course, an incredible sight to see, as I believe this is the first goal in the past matches played by Tigers in which Immortals has scored, and it's now halftime. So I can imagine that Immortals must be feeling pretty well with that goal whilst going into halftime and going to diagnose the robots. With the second half commencing, I am happy to report that I've also changed the or the field HUD that you see in your bottom left corner to make it more transparent. This will mean that from now on you can even see the robots as they're driving, regardless of the position of the field. Look, I'll show you. Which means that in a bit I can also start to make those fields a little bit bigger as they're not obstructing the view of the game. As we continue the game, we notice the balls on the far field of Tigers, where actually their own robot has kicked the ball out of the field. Let's go to the corner flag as we see a beautiful kissing method once more in action, with the ball placement on the side of the field. As it did feel, however, with a sort of minor touch, as the game is halted as there appears to have been quite a big crash, also awarding a yellow card to Immortals, who seems to be the aggressor of this crash. Meaning that with 5 red cards and 5 yellow cards, they're only allowed to have 4 robots on the field. As now a forced robot substitution is being called, even though I believe that the decision might be contested. I see a lot of people standing around the referee screen as they're looking into what just happened. As the game continues once more, we're approaching the side of the Immortals with the Tigers on the offense as the ball is in the center of the goal. It's passed to a free robot of Tigers, though this misses the ball, and the ball now goes over the, I think, the goalkeeper line. No, it was the center line as Immortals gets to take the ball on the left side as the game continues, and there is a chip. Interestingly enough, both teams have a similar tactic when it comes to taking free kicks. They have one robot behind the ball as Tigers in the meantime substitutes a robot. They have one robot behind the ball, after which there's one in front of the ball that is blocking other possible defenders. Then afterwards, these teams are likely to chip the ball over their own robots into the field, as this is what's happening. Immortals playing with 4 robots, with 10 on the side of 10 on the side of Tigers. Tigers has been awarded a yellow card. One because it interfered with placement, and because there was a crash detected. And Tigers aren't keeping enough distance to the kicking point. Oh, Lucas er ook. As Tigers are now placing the ball, apparently because they had the ball. And with the ball placement being rather successful or unsuccessful, we're not completely sure, as the robots aren't moving, and nothing seems to be happening except for the fact that the game is now halted. And I do look on my right, seeing people discussing, as the robot handler from Immortals is now pushing their robots manually to not interfere with the ball placement. As the robots from Tigers are moving back into a T-shaped formation, as the game is, or Immortals has called for a timeout. Timeout is a place for 2 teams, or for both teams, to work on their robots in order to get them back up and running, get them back in the field, get them in working order. That is the time in which robots may, or which teams may actually work on their robots. Apart from that, nothing can be done. On the other side of the field, Tigers isn't looking too moved by this timeout, as they're sitting quite comfortably, waiting for the game to commence. As we switch to a broader view, we see that it's 4 robots against 10, and with, I believe, like a minute to spare, Tigers will be allowed to put 11 robots back into the field. In the meantime, Tigers is standing in a T-shaped formation whilst the eyes of every robot are blinking in order. I wonder whether it's just for aesthetic effects or whether there's actually a meaning to this. For example, something like verification of their working apparatus. As I gotta admit, I do feel for Immortals, given the fact that they have so many files that are given to them. They have 31 unsupported behavior accounts, of which 5 have resulted in yellow cards and 5 have resulted in red cards, meaning that their number of robots allowed in the field is already down to 6. -1 for every yellow card that they're getting for 2 minutes. As there is the game continues with a shot on goal on the Immortals side, as the ball is quite very good reflected by the keeper. As we once again go back to the field of Immortals, and there's definitely a goal scored this time from Tigers, with a big applause from the audience as we try and get the replay for you guys to see what's happening. Before the game commences, I quickly want to go to the replay of the goal that we saw earlier. very good.
And as we see here,
by the keeper,
as we
once
move
again
to the side of Immortals,
go back
as
to the
there is
field
a clear
of,
shot opportunity for
Immortals, and there's
the
definitely
Tigers
a goal scored this
that has unfortunately led to a goal, or fortunately for the Tigers, unfortunately for Immortals, as we transition back into the game and we move to the mid side of the field. Possession for Tigers, as there's a 1-2 combination, a 1-2-3 combination, which gets defended by Immortals. Immortals being only with 5 robots back onto the field, as they are once more allowed to substitute another robot. But there's free space on the left side of the Tigers with a great save from the keeper, as the ball is now deflected over the side of the field. The game continues with a beautiful chip from Tigers, as there's another shot on goal. The keeper is doing God's work, but it may not matter, as Tigers has scored another goal. And I will check if I can get you the replay once more. Every time you hear the siren from Tigers, you know that the goal is indeed confirmed, as robots will slowly start to go back into their positions. I will quickly transition to the replay, where we see that there is a... this is not a replay. When we have a look at the beautiful chip from Tigers, as there's another shot on goal. The keeper is doing God's work, but it may not matter, as Tigers has scored another goal. Clutch, as we transition back into the game, there's another potential opportunity for Tigers, as the pace of the game is starting to take a rapid acceleration. As I believe there is another goal scored by Tigers, and I do hear the siren, so that is the case. The AI of Tigers is ramping up, as we will once more look at the replay for you guys, because if anything happens, you'll be sure to find it here. As there is a clear goal opportunity, and the keeper just seemed to misses it for some reason. Perhaps there was some vision bug, perhaps there was some detection issues, maybe it was control. As we move back into the game, we transition to the home side of Immortals once more, as there is a huge gap in the defense, but that's probably because Immortals is down to only 6 robots being allowed on the field, as we once more see the beautiful placement of the ball with the double kissing method. I think it should become a rule that every team in the league should from now on scrap a dribbler and place the ball with a double placing method. Speaking of double, there was just a double touch registered that meant that the Immortals robots were touching the ball twice during kickoff. This is not allowed and results in a free kick from Tigers, which gets immediately deflected by a robot from Immortals and shoots across all the way at the field, the other side of the field. As we get a perspective on the Tigers robot placing it back in before we start the game once more. But not completely, because Immortals is calling for a robot substitution, as one robot, number 6, gets replaced for number 5. Perhaps a technical issue, perhaps something else, perhaps better code, we don't know. But it does seem that number 5 is up and ready and well rested for the game to be continued. And as the free kick from the side continues, it seems to be the case that Tigers is slowly learning and adapting on how to score effectively against Immortals, as we now see that goal number 9 has taken place as well. And at this point, I have to remind you that this is a double bracket elimination, meaning that both teams can, given that this is the upper bracket, can afford to lose twice. And the loser of this game will, of course, go to the lower bracket half final. I would assume so. I am not completely sure. As we see that the game is continuing with 1 minute and 33 seconds remaining, as the ball is with Tigers and immediately deflected by no, actually by a Tigers robot, as Immortals is now going for a robot no, not a substitution, a ball placement. So it was deflected by Tigers' own robot, as Immortals is spinning, as there is a ball as there is a ball pass in front of the goal, with the keeper coming very brave into its own field, whereas it did not manage to fully defend well, even though it still has to be checked whether that was a goal that was allowed, as we perhaps transition to the quick replay to see if we can find what has happened. As we see that the game is continuing with 1 minute and 33 seconds at this point in time, as the ball is with Tigers and immediately deflected by left side. No, actually by a Tigers robot. As Immortals is now going for a robot no, not a substitution, a ball placement. So it was deflected by Tigers' own robot. As Immortals is spinning, as there is a brave defense by the keeper. But indeed, I do think that this goal is justified, as there is a offenders from Tigers were outside of the goal line and managed to surpass the keeper. This would mean that this final score would be 1-10, as Tigers will therefore win the game if it has been confirmed that this goal was valid. I am not completely sure as we transition back into the same replay screen. Let me switch to all the cameras for a moment as we have a look at what the actual referees will say. Some fierce debate going on at the side of the referee table, with the game controllers in hand, trying to discuss perhaps our broadcasting desk would be able to provide some meaningful content as I save the replay, and it would be something to discuss. Apparently this only happens when true vision experts are in the game controller area vicinity, as they are definitely watching the live stream. And when I look at my right, I don't think that vision expert is actually watching the live stream at the moment, as people are pointing at the screen. Perhaps you'll be able to see it on the top right image, right in front of you, the desk near the Tigers Mannheim flag, as Immortals is discussing here what robots are supposed to go where, I assume. Referees are looking quite silently at the things that are happening, with 5 of the Tigers people standing around the screen, and 2 referees, but no one from Immortals is going to check upon the referee to see what is happening. They are placing their robots back in the field as if they are confident that this was not a valid goal, as we still wait for the decision to come. Switch perhaps to a nicer view. For a moment, I thought I was looking at a replay of the past event, but it definitely wasn't, as we are apparently still in play with 1 minute and 10 seconds to spare on the clock, as there was a goal attempt from Tigers on the field of Immortals. The goal was apparently not approved. The last goal that we had that I do have a replay of. So let's check and see why we can deduce what might have gone wrong. As we see, the game is continuing with 1 minute and 33 seconds remaining, as the ball is with Tigers and immediately deflected by no, actually by a Tigers robot. As Immortals is now going for a robot, no, not a substitution, a ball placement. So it was deflected by Tigers' own robot. As Immortals is spinning, as there is a ball. I guess maybe as there is
Tigers might be
too close to the goal area while shooting. Is that a thing?
The robots need to have a certain distance from the defense area when the goalie shoots the ball.
An impeccable defense by the Immortals keeper, as there was a fierce shot from Tigers on the field, and the ball is deflected, as the ball is now currently being placed on the far right side of your screen, as the Tigers no, it was just placed to shoot to the left side of the screen. As we move to a broader view, as you can see that the ball is being placed in time, which is quite impressive, I must admit. As Tigers is also using passing, but that's definitely a double touch, and that is not allowed. Meaning that ball possession will be going to Immortals, who are getting ready to also do a double touch. Meaning the ball possession will then go back to Tigers. With Tigers having placed it, we'll see what happens, as there's another double touch, and Immortals is going to be able to try again. Perhaps there's a vision problem. We don't know for certain, as there's again another double touch. As you can see, this is not allowed, and the game is constantly being stopped, but now it's also being stopped completely, as there's a timeout called by Immortals. 2 minutes to spare, as there's indeed a clear and impressive communication between the team members of Immortals. Here to the right of my caster desk, as we see that Tigers is sitting across from us in chairs, discussing with potentially up-and-coming team from Delft, the Netherlands, about their latest achievements, I can only assume. Yeah, as we wait for the timeout from Immortals to end, which they have 1 minute and 30 seconds, of course, remaining. I cannot help but notice that the score is 1-9, and there's 30 seconds to play on the clock, which I must admit is quite impressive to score against Tigers for the time being. It was a great goal, and perhaps I made a replay, but I think it's the same replay as last time. Regardless, we can have a look at what exactly. Maybe we can have a look at one of the previous. As I get a message from the chat which says that the stream overlay seems to be messed up. Well, if the stream overlay is meant to be the status board as well as the field, this sudden change in color and appearance is intended, as it makes them more transparent, and we are able to see more of the robots in action because of that. if this is a very undesirable change, I am of course able to revert it, though I do think, and this is my personal preference, that it looks quite slick. So please do let me know what you think about the changes to the live stream, what you think about the replays, and what you think about the live commentary. Thank you very much. As well as I was looking in the chat, debating about the HUD. I do believe Tigers has scored their final goal with 18 seconds to spare. And indeed, I hear a siren, which means that quite possibly the game has come to an end. As I do feel that, especially Immortals here, but also Tigers, of course, for their victory, deserves a well-deserved applause. As we move to see the victory celebrations from Tigers. For the viewers at home, I'm wondering whether you know what these celebrations are supposed to represent. Of course, this is the beautiful game of Pong. As the robots are now moving back into the field, going for a Macarena, or so it seems. As Immortals indeed already takes their robots off the field to give more room for the Tiger celebration, which never gets old for most, as the Tigers robots are now creeping up to the center line, and after the Macarena, they seem to be going for possibly another celebration, which is, of course, the Eye of the Tiger, where they are bumping into the Immortals robot. It seems as if they are bullying him. This is, of course, a very punishable offense, I would say, and maybe even call for a disqualification of said team. As I do not think that even in the celebration you should be attacking other players. I at least call for a red card, but that is, of course, my personal opinion, and I should know the rules better. But with that said, all joking aside, I do think that Tigers has again performed a strong looking match. They seem to be very ready. A potential candidate for the throne once more, as I must also credit Immortals for their incredible performance. Of course, a shame for the substantial number of red and yellow cards, as we see that the pictures are being taken with all the robots stacked up. This is, of course, a very nice tradition in the Small Science League community, that after every game, the teams will always pose for a nice picture with all the robots there.
Yeah, it's actually quite different, like where people take a photo beforehand.
It is
How did I
actually
think of it?
an interesting thing to mention, indeed, that the photo moments are only after the game and not before. I do think that after the game it's more wholesome, as the losing team at regular football usually just drips off and leaves. Whereas here there is always some room for banter, some room for small talk, as we watch the photo moment taking place. Of course, here, as opposed to normal football, people cannot wear shoes when on the field, which is because of the fact that the field might get damaged, and this will influence the vision program as photos being taken.
As the teams are starting to clear the field, we managed to get a sneak quick interview in with Immortals team. Of course, congratulating them with their impeccable performance. They were, in general, also quite satisfied with their performance, especially with the keeper. It turns out that they had some problems with dealing with the balls at lower speeds, which is why they have been getting so many goals scored against them. They were mostly at lower speeds, as the robot keeper would then overshoot its position estimate. Additionally, the reason for it that they had a lot of yellow and red cards is that they changed a minor setting last minute, and this was making the robots more aggressive. For some reason, they disabled it at, let's say, somewhere halftime, but then already the damage was already done because they had a lot of red cards. But without the setting enabled, the robots were playing a little bit nicer, so that is proving to be something to watch out for. As we almost round off this stream with an nth game of 10-1.
Oh, 10. Oh, there's 10-1. Yeah.
10-1. As I would like to say that both of these teams are playing more matches, so definitely be sure to keep up to date with our channel, as both Immortals and Tigers will of course be playing more matches. Immortals now going to the lower bracket half finals, I would assume, where Tigers is waiting for the next opponent in the upper bracket half finals, or so I would assume. In any case, thanks to everyone in the online audience for watching. Again, this match, we'll probably be back with the next match, reporting it for you as we go along. Thank you, take care, and get some nice drinks.